This lesson is on decimal notation. So decimals are simply fractions whose denominator is a 10. So we can see that 1/10 as a fraction is equivalent to 0.1 or 1/10 as a decimal. So this would be the tenths place. 1/100th as a fraction would be the same as 1/100th as a decimal. I want you to note that this has two zeros, and notice that our numerator is 2 places away from the decimal. This one has 3 zeros, 1/1000th, and our numerator of 1 is 1, 2, 3 places to the right of the decimal, etc. So you can notice the pattern there. This puts together the left side of our place value chart that we've talked about previously with ones, tens, hundreds, etc. moving to the left. A decimal point goes in the middle, which obviously that's not really a place value. That's just where our decimal goes. So anything to the left of the decimal is a whole number. Anything to the right of the decimal is called our fractional portions because it's less than 1. Notice that all of the place values over here end in THS, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, whereas to the left it's tens, hundreds, thousands. So note that as you're working through these questions. The first thing we're going to do is identify the place value. And so I've included the table as a reference. It looks like I lost a 0 there on my 10,000s. Identify the place value of each underlined digit. So we're always going to start at the decimal and then move left or right from there. So on our first question, we've got our tenths and our hundredths. So 5 is in the hundredths place. 592.64, the 9 would be in the ones, tens place. So that would be the tens. No THS because it's a whole number. And our last one, here's our decimal. We have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. So 100,000ths. As we read those numbers that are in decimal notation, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. The first, the decimal is read as and. So when we were looking at numbers before, we were very careful not to say the word and because and does represent the decimal. And if you're looking at the values to the right of the decimal place, you're going to look at the digit furthest to the right. So this would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And notice when I'm writing it out in words, I write 253 just as I would before. The 53 is hyphenated. And then and to represent where that decimal is going to go. And then 49 thousandths. So whatever number you have here, 49, and then it ends in the thousandths place, so that's the value that we write. So for these examples, we're going to write the word name for each number. Again, you always want to be aware where that decimal is. This first number is 3,000. Remember, we always put a comma at that period, even though we tend not to write the comma if it's just thousands, where if it was 10,000s or 100,000s, we would write that comma. I'm still going to write it in my word form. And then we have 49. Remember, 49 is going to be hyphenated. Then we have the decimal, so we write and. And then to the right of the decimal, the number is 2, but 2 what? 2 tenths. 3,049 and 2 tenths. My next number to the left of the decimal, I have 6. And lets me know that's where the decimal is. To the right of the decimal, I have 4 decimal places. This is the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So on the right side, I'm going to write 8,000. 200, wow, HUNDRED, 200, 4, 10 thousandths. And the last one, obviously, we're going to start with a negative, And then I've got tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. So negative 19 100,000ths. Now notice on this one, I didn't write the and I didn't have to write the and because I didn't have anything to the left of the decimal, whereas on example B, I had a number to the right of the decimal, so I had to write and, I had to write and here. So on this example where I didn't have anything to the left, you just go straight into that last part where you're writing the number and whatever the place value is. For these questions, we're just going to go in the opposite direction. So they are giving me the word form, and again, we're going to look very closely for that word and, so that we know where the decimal will go. And then we're just going to write the numbers to the left and the numbers to the right. Remember, the numbers to the right, we're going to be looking for that final place value to help us know where to end our number. So our first one, we have 903. 903. And 14 thousandths. So a lot of people want to just go straight to 0.14. Remember that the 14 needs to end in the thousandths place. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So that means the 14 goes here. If I need to, then I just put any zeros for placeholders. My next one, negative 12 and 6,029 hundred-thousandths. So again, not a bad idea to leave yourself little spaces. This is tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. In those places, I need 6,029. So 6,029 would look like this. 0 is a placeholder. Again, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. My last one, 1 and 11 hundredths. So 1 and tenths, hundredths. I need 11 of them. So it's 1.11. 1 and 11 hundredths. Here are 3 questions for you to try over those 3 things that we've talked about. So press pause, try all 3 questions first, then press play to see how you did. For our first, we are identifying the place value. So again, this is a number to the right. So I'm going to count from here, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. So 100,000ths. The word form of the number, I have 3,000, 43, whoa, 3,043, and 12 what? Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Thousandths. And our last, we have 9,000 and 45 hundred-thousandths. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths. We have 45 of them. The rest are zeros. And that's it.